we've had like 6 of these challenges. I'm going to read all of them. We're going to try to put this together in a way that makes sense. It's for Cameron.
Hey.
So that's me. Hi, co-pilot, who may or may not be Beej at this point. Happy Zeta to you. I am submitting a challenge whereby Cam has to sarcastically try to convince people in the room what a great job it is to work for customer service in a contact center. Be my pleasure to donate $12 or more for this. Happy busing. Also, Cam, this is for you. I work at a call center for a cell phone company, and I remember from stories you've told in your stream.
I'll wait for the music cue.
So I want you to think of one of the calls you took where the customer was wrong and would not admit it, then give the response you really wanted to give them but couldn't. I think it would be for the best for the others if you describe a specific situation, but I leave that for you to decide. So if you want to convince us, or tell a story, or do both, that's up to you.
Okay, I'll step up to the mark for these. So I worked for the phone company in the billing queue when I was out of university for the first time, because it actually paid really well. This was a job in a union shop because all of the everyone who was in the billing queue or in the call center at all used to be telephone operators. So these were all like 50-ish-year-old women who had like spent their career basically like making connections on plug boards and were now answering phones. And that had been a union job, and so I was getting paid like, you know, a reasonable amount to just kind of walk into this. But at this point, we were just getting phone calls from people who had decided to draw the line in the sand over a $2 charge that they had just noticed on their phone bill. And whatever else had happened in their life up to this point, they had decided here and no further. This is the line that they were going to die on. And I didn't care. I did not care.
Could anyone though? Really?
Apparently. It was really demoralizing. People were just like, no, there's this $2 charge on my phone bill that I've never noticed before, and it is going away, and you are going to take it away. And I'm like, I actually can't. I could make the rest of your phone bill disappear. I can just delete that. But all the actual service fees, no, those can't go. Like I got this call from a guy whose grandmother had just recently moved to Canada from Cuba, and she had racked up like $1,500 in long distance charges calling family, and he didn't have a long distance plan on his phone. And I was just like, you know what? I'll just re-rate that. You know, I'll give you whatever the optimal plan is, and suddenly I'll knock like $1,300 off your phone bill. And he's like, thank you. And then there were times when I would just, where somebody would be like, I had my nephew visiting me for a week, and he racked up $900 in phone sex charges.
Wow.
And so I just made those go away too.
I'm not even sure I could do that if I tried. That's a lot.
Apparently it doesn't take very long.
Okay.
But like the only thing we had to tell them was like the phone sex companies, they bill through your phone bill, but if we reverse the charges, they will come directly to you. They will send you to collections. And they were like, let them.
Bring it on.
Most of the time, there were also like the calls from people who were like, it's not my fault you didn't get my payment on time. Or it's not my problem that you didn't get my payment on time. And it's like, the entire crux of your problem is that we didn't get your payment on time. That's why you're on the phone with me. That's why I'm on the phone with you. That's why we're all here. And it's 45 cents.
Please, Jess.
You just finished explaining to me how you were on the phone for 2 hours to argue over 45 cents. And I just wanted to be like, just come in for a hug, buddy. We all need them, right? Just lay one on me, big guy. We're all just trying to get through the day here.
What? Graham?
It's fine. Keep talking.
That was it.
It's fine.
That was it. That was my experience in customer service.
So now convince us why we should do it.
Because you get to do what I did eventually, which is you get to walk in one morning when your shift starts at 8 a.m., and you get to look on the board and see that the average call wait time is 90 minutes. And you sit at your desk for a good 30 seconds, and you take off your headset, and you walk to your manager, and you put your your badge on the desk and you say, "I quit." And you look around and you realize you were the last person from your training group to have done this. Because everyone else you trained with is gone and you haven't noticed it until now.
Wow.
And then you get on a bus and you go across country and then you come home when you run out of money.
Well, at least now we know why that job pays so much.
And you don't talk to anyone for a good long time, and it's really nice. It's very refreshing. It's a palate cleanser, and I highly recommend you try it. Just after having a job where your entire job is to talk to people who are super angry, not talking for 3 weeks.
Pretty good.
It's really nice.
I've done a 2.5 day cross-country Greyhound trip from Vancouver to Montreal.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Montreal for 3 months, not working at all because I'm an Anglophobe.
Phone. Anglophobe is something else.
Yeah.
Although they do have those in Montreal too.
Yeah. And then I did the exact same trip all the way back, 2.5 days.
Yeah.
You are in this transitory bubble.
Yeah.
You don't have any responsibilities.
Yeah.
You are doing exactly what you have to do. And
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
just sitting and existing.
Yeah, you get to wake up. Sometimes you fall asleep on the bus, and you wake up, and it is like 3 a.m, or like it's at some point at the night, and you're watching the moon over the prairies, and it's all snowy.
And you're
and
one
it's just going
province
by.
over.
Yeah, and you're like, this is really nice. And then you fall asleep again, and you wake up because you've stopped at a bakery in the middle of Manitoba for breakfast.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, yeah, that bus trip was also the time where, if you were here with me last night, where I woke up once because I heard the rumble strips on the side of the road going, and as I woke up, I heard the bus driver go, jerk the bus to the left.
No. Oh no.
That sounds more familiar to my bus experiences. I was gonna say, those sound like lovely busing experiences. Very different than what I'm used to.
Well, my experience on the bus is quite nice because I'm brown, so nobody sits next to me.
Oh.
I would say this.
And on that cross-country trip through Greyhound, there was one.
Decapitation.
No. Because of that,
Oh, yeah.
there was the one security check in Winnipeg.
Oh.
Because that was around where it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Nowhere else. Not in Vancouver, not in Montreal, just Winnipeg.
The only time that we had to get off the bus and get on a new bus was because we were driving behind one of those big, utility trucks, the ones like the flatbed truck where the back has been taken off and just replaced with like banks of tools and a small manipulator arm usually. Because a deer jumped out in front of that truck and it hit the deer and went off the road, and then we hit the deer as it bounced from So we actually just got pelted with deer chips.
Oh,
No.
And I was like, am I
chips.
dead? Am I dead? There's just gore on the front of the bus. And the bus driver's like, we're gonna have to change buses. And I'm like, okay. And I get out of the bus, and it looks like Death Race 2000 across the front. And deer are surprisingly large animals. Either that or hitting jibs at 100 kilometers an hour can actually fracture, the rigid plastic that bumpers and windows are made out of. It was good. It was good.
I had to switch a Greyhound bus at one point. This was Northern Ontario. I was heading up to Petawawa. The one time I was in Northern Ontario. And the bus driver took the corner too sharply. So the street light, which was, because the Greyhound buses are raised up, they've got legs at the bottom, everybody sits on top. The street light just raked the entire side of the glass of the bus, and it was just shattering glass next to everybody's head. I was in the other side of the bus, but
That's good.
I just watched this like light protrude into the bus and just rake down the entire side,
That's
bursting
a
all
Final
over the
Destination movie.
That's
I'm
exactly what that was.
90% sure.
There is the bus I ride downtown every day is usually it's a double-decker bus because it comes from the university and goes downtown, so it just has an enormous number of people on it. And in Victoria we have double-decker buses. And at one point it takes an outside turn, and at the apex of that turn, apogee, whatever, the max curvature, there is a telephone pole with a huge gouge in it right at the top elevation of the bus, because somebody, the first time anybody was driving one of these, presumably, they just took the turn too hard and bounced off the telephone pole.
Well,
There's a lot of bouncing.
The apex.
Apex.
Yeah, in
Is it
racing they
apex?
call it an apex.
Okay.
I have some work I have to attend to. Thank you, Cam, for the stories.
No problem. Anyway, I hope you're all convinced to work in a call center.
there you go.
Just for the experience of being able to quit.
Yeah, it
Just
pays
to-
well until you can't take it anymore. No, sorry, I forgot the best part of it.
Ooh.
I was on my lunch break once, and I was in the break room with one of these aforementioned, like, middle-aged women who used to be operators, and, like, they were all great because they were unflappable. I have never met a person who gave fewer buses than any of these people. And one of them told me over this lunch break, she's like, "I see you come in here." And I'm not exaggerating this voice at all, because these had been people who had never been on the phone before, and they were all career smokers. And she basically told me, like, "I used to be like you when I first got this job. And what I did was every day after I finished work, I went home and I just cried for 45 minutes. And then after about a year of that, I didn't care anymore."
Just a year
It's
of
just-
perpetual tears.
Yeah.
And
Then you don't feel
then
anything
you're fine.
anymore.
Yeah,
Then
and
you're
then
fine.
she was fine, and she was
Capacity
like,
to
"So
feel.
don't worry, stick with it, and you'll be okay."
That was
And I was like-
advice.
that was her advice.
What a pep talk! The pep talk of the century.
Yeah, and I'm like, I suddenly do not feel so good about everyone's decision to stop putting lead in our gasoline, because if we hadn't done that, if we hadn't made that call as a civilization, I wouldn't feel like this right now. I just wouldn't care. I wouldn't be aware of what was going on, and I would just be able to go home and cry until I stopped feeling things.
Oh,
Right.
man. Glad I've never worked in a call center and that I don't have siblings. Feeling real thankful today.
No
So,
tears now.
I lasted
Only
as
chips.
directory assistant and a toll operator for 3 months before one of the lady who trained me informed me that I was too nice a person to stay there and should find a different job.
You're too nice.
I
I
have,
cannot break you. Go away.
I have